Hey, what's up? Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Etchetera. My name is Jaime and I am a video editor and a 2D animation compositor. Now I'm a freelancer with no active jobs as of the moment. Before we go further, please forgive the audio because I'm just improvising on my mic right now. Okay, so on my last video I said in the description that if we hit at least 30 likes and 30 subscribers, a video tutorial will follow. But as soon as I saw that the subscription went up to 30 people, then it doesn't really matter anymore if we hit 30 likes. So I'll just do it. Okay. Number one thing to know is that I used Adobe After Effects CC 2018 to produce this simple motion graphics. If ever you have no After Effects installed, you can go to the Adobe website and download it. Or you can just ask someone who has an installer. I would like to point out that the takeaways from this tutorial for starters are the following: introduction to the project panel, the effect control panel, how to use keyframes for basic movement or animation, introduction to the viewer, and other stuff. Introduction to 3 layers, the text, shape, and solid layer. And of course, we're going to apply some effects. So with that said, let's start by opening out our software After Effects. Okay, so our project panel. Well, actually this is where you put all your raw materials, everything that you will use. First, we're going to right click on the project panel and then you can see a new composition. Let's select that. Now we're in the composition settings. So we have default 1920 by 1080 resolution with 24 frame rate, and I've set a 200 frames duration. So again, let's just leave the duration to about 200, or you can set it to 200 frames. The default background will be black. So let's name this composition loading screen UI. Okay, we have our comp right there. Now, as you can see, we have here our choose grid and guide options. So we're gonna turn on the title safe just for a guide. If we go here on the tools, as you can see, the default would be on the selection tool. I think it would be the most important thing here. And then we're gonna use the anchor point by and then we're gonna use some shape tools as well. So we use the selection tool. Let's go here on the timeline again. I'm gonna show you right here. It's either you go for the frames, you go with the frames, or you're going to have the alternate display style, the time code. So you can control click to make the switch. So if we go here on the composition settings, instead of 0, we're gonna make it 1 so that our starting count will be 1 instead of 0. We're gonna switch it back to the frames. As you can see right here, we have the current time indicator. It's what we use to move over the timeline. Let's just put it back to frame 1. Right click, new text, and then we're going to type in hello. So as you can see, it's not quite on the center, so let's change first the color. You can change the color here. You can choose whatever you want, but for now we're just gonna put it to white. We go to align and we will try to put it in the center. Okay, right. I'm gonna go to the anchor tool and then we're to click and drag the anchor point to the center. Okay, let's switch back to the selection tool. Let's click on the text layer. And then, okay, instead of always right clicking, we can actually go to the layer menu. And then here we can see new and then text. Then we're going to actually have to duplicate this one. Let's go to edit and then look for duplicate, or we have the shortcut right here on the keyboard, Control D. So there we have it. Hello to change the text by selecting the text tool, and then we're gonna click and highlight. Okay, so we're just going to type there, and then we're going to duplicate it again. So in order for us not to change anything from the previous layers, we are actually going to lock these layers. Going back to this word, we are going to change it to the word kindly. Okay, and then we're going to duplicate it again for the last word that we need. Let's type in wait, and then triple dots. We can toggle on and off with this icon. It's like an eye. It's actually a switch if you want to see a layer or not. So we're going to unlock the first one so that we can animate or do something. Okay, so let's switch back to our selection tool, and then you can see there's a drop down menu on the layer. Go to transform, and as you can see, we have here the basic attributes. We have the anchor point, which we have adjusted a while ago, and then there's the position and scale. It's what I mostly use for animating motion graphics, and of course the opacity. The rotation, I use it rarely. So here in the timeline, as you can see here below, we can actually zoom in using this slider right here. So let's go to the first frame. Okay, so here we have the stopwatch. It's actually the one responsible for creating the first keyframe. Okay, when we click on the stopwatch, wherever you are in the timeline, a keyframe will be created. And then if you click this one, it will actually add another keyframe. And if we click on the stopwatch again, it will delete all of the keyframes. So let's start by clicking on the first frame so that it will create a starting keyframe. So let's advance to 10 frames, and then let's add a keyframe, or we can just change a value here, and then automatically there's a keyframe. And you can see on the on the viewer, there is a change on the word hello. So you're gonna see that after a couple of frames, when it hits the 10th frame, it will actually be scaled up. If we want to make it smoother, we can right click on the keyframe. You can choose Easy Ease, or you can just simply press F9 on your keyboard. Okay, so we're going to advance 10 more frames. So we're going to the 20th frame, and then we're going to scale it down to the original 100%. So if you're going to play, you'll have this animation. Let's lock the first layer, and let's see what we can do on this second layer, the word there. So actually we can go to this effects and presets, and then go to animation presets, look for text, and then look for blurs, and then choose foggy. You can actually drag it on the layer or just double click on it. So we have the effect here. Go to text. You can see foggy animator is already added. Alright, so we go to the range selector. We can actually adjust the offset. So let's turn off the first layer so we can see this word there. Let's navigate through it so that we can see what it looks like. There we go. So it's actually a cool effect, especially when we're going to use transitions. We're going to the first layer, and then we're actually going to make him fade out. So let's click on the stopwatch of opacity, and then from 100 let's going to make it 0 so that it will be exiting or fading out as the word there comes in. Okay. So nice, looking nice. Now we can actually trim the layer by pressing on the keyboard, Alt open bracket for the beginning and Alt close bracket for the ending. Then let's go back to the word there. Actually, there's another feature right here that is very nice and convenient when navigating the timeline, and they are markers, just like what we use in the books. Its default labels would be numbers from 1 to 9. So we're going to drag the second marker on the first keyframe of the word there so that we know where the start of the second word comes in. And then now we are actually going to use opacity again for the fade out. Okay, so let's just set up, go to frame 40 and then go to frame 50 for the fade out. We're going to trim the layer, Alt close bracket. Let's go to the third word, kindly, and then you trim wherever the start of the fading out of the word there. Okay, so we're going to try to fade in the word kindly. So we're going to set up the opacity. As you can see there, I'm going to make a marker again and then set it up to 0 and then make it easy ease, and then the word there, we're going to fade it out. So there you go, hello there, kindly. Alright, so we're going to try to play with the position attribute. So let's click on the stopwatch and then let's go to frame 60 Let's just zoom in a bit. Alright, frame 60. Click. Let's create a keyframe and then reposition the word kindly. Let's adjust the keyframe to about 5 frames instead. And then let's use the scale attribute. Let's scale it up while it's up there. And then let's go forward to 5 frames. Let's copy the first keyframes of position and scale. And then paste. And then we're going to easy ease the middle ones. Okay, so far that's what we have, but we're going to adjust this. Okay, so imagine that there's a jump right there. So let's go for 10 frames forward, frame 70. And then we're going to set up another fade. Gonna fade it out. And then we're going to make the first keyframe of its opacity to easy ease. So there we're going to trim the layer again, alt close bracket. So we can move on to the last word. Wait, and then we're going to trim the layer, alt open bracket. Okay, so let's add a marker. So far that's what we have. So let's go to the effect and then type in fill and then drag the effect to the first layer, and then let's go to the effect controls panel, and you can see here that we can actually change the color of the word fill, and we can control it by clicking on the stopwatch to the timeline. We're going to press U so that all of the keyframes of the attributes that we changed a while ago will appear. So you can see right here the scale on it and opacity, and then now we have color. So let's go forward to about 10 frames. We're going to change the value of the color, yellow orange or yellow. Okay, and then you can see the change right there. Let's go forward to frame 20, then let's make it green, the classic stop, ready and go. Alright, so red, yellow, green. We will apply the same effect here. So let's go to the effects and presets. We're going to apply fill. So again, you can drag it on the layer, or you can drag it on the effect controls panel and then click on the stopwatch, color. Let's make it green, just like the word hello. So let's see, press U so that the keyframes will appear. So there, it would be more smoother before we change it to color white. There you go. So you have hello there. Okay, so from green to white, it's more smoother of a transition. Okay, and then we're going to change the keyframe to easy ease for a smoother look. Alright. Remember, we're only on the words, but we are already making good stuff right here. See? Let's go to the third word, kindly. And then let's search for linear. We're gonna use linear wipe. We're gonna drag this on the layer or to the effect controls panel. Again, we're going to press U. Then we're going to adjust. Okay, so we're going to copy the effect linear wipe to the last layer. So just select linear wipe and then go to the next layer, then paste it there. Control C, Control V. So we have the effect right there. Okay, so we're just going to adjust more so that it would be smoother. Okay, so for the word kindly, we will start from 0 to 100. And then we will do the opposite for the word wait. So the transition completion of its linear wipe would be from 100 to 0. So it's like a reveal for the word wait and a wipe for the word kindly. The wipe angle for the word wait would be -90, and then from 100 to 0. Then we're just going to adjust. And then let's make the feather, both of their feathers, to 50 so that it won't be sharp when the transition is going on. Okay, alright, so there we have it. And then we're going to make both of the keyframes to easy ease. And then let's play. This is what we have so far. Okay, now so we can concentrate on doing the shapes. Let's just minimize all of the text. Okay, so we go to the tools. Let's look for the rectangle tool. Okay, let's go here. Go to the fill options and then choose none. Okay. Go to stroke and choose solid. Okay. Now let's make a shape. Let's try to align it on the line. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. Now we got our first shape. Let's go to the size. Let's adjust the width. Let's make a keyframe. 10 from 20. So let's go to first frame and then make it bigger. Try to align it on the second line. Okay, so we have a movement right there. Let's make these keyframes easy ease. Alright, let's make another keyframe. Frame 20. Make it 20 again with the stroke width, and let's just copy the original size. And then, as always, we would make it easy ease. So So there you go, there's an animation. Okay, so let's just make another rectangle. Let's make sure we can get the same size. So instead of stroke, we will use fill. Let's delete the stroke, we don't need that. And then let's make this 25 just so we can see it. And then we're gonna change places. We're gonna put it underneath. Let's try to change the anchor point. We will going to put the anchor point on the left side. Let's try to animate the opacity. So we're going to put 0, 1 frame behind the first frame. We're going to adjust the size. Alright, let's click on the stopwatch and then let's set up some keyframes and then unlink. Then let's adjust the value. Let's make it 0. And there you go. Let's go to frame 40 and let's just fade it. Let's just make the opacity 0 to fade out. So let's just change the color, whatever color. So in this case, we're gonna make it light green, whitish green. So let's just try to rename this once. Okay, so let's add an effect called trim paths, and then let's make a keyframe here. Then let's go to frame 50 and then make a keyframe. Then instead of 0, let's make it 100. Make the keyframe ease. So let's try to make another rectangle. One right here. Let's make the opacity from 0 to 100 and same with the scale from 0 to 100. Let's make these keyframes ease. Right, yeah. So let's go here, open the dash, click on the plus sign. Let's adjust the value of the dash. So I think 8. Then let's make 3 on the 50th frame, and let's adjust the stroke width. Okay, so let's play around value here. Just from 10 to 5. Let's go to the position. Let's put it more on the center part, on the middle part. And then let's unlink the scale. Let's try to adjust the box. And position it, reposition again. Let's make all the keyframes ease. Now on to the next word. Let's try to animate the offset so that it would be rotating as we go on. Let's try to make it 100. Okay, so let's go back to one of the rectangles, and then let's make keyframes here. So from 100, let's bring it back to 0. So let's just adjust the size or the scale. Let's make keyframe. Okay, so let's just make another keyframe here so that we can adjust here, so that if it appears again, it would be on another level. Okay, so let's fade out the dashed rectangle. Let's make a keyframe from 100 going to 0 to fade out. Then let's adjust the scale. Let's make a keyframe. Let's scale it up. So there you go. So its transition will be smoother. Let's watch what we have so far. Alright. Now let's go to let's open the dash with the plus sign. Let's make it round. Let's try to adjust the stroke width. Let's make a keyframe. Instead of 820, let's make it 6. And then keyframe for the dash from 0 to 6. Let's adjust keyframe and then make it easy ease. Okay. Let's make an offset. Make it 100 so that it would be rotating. And we might want to extend it all the way to frame 200. Let's see what we have. Okay, so it's so slow. Let's make it faster, maybe around 200. Okay. Alright, so it looks better. Now let's adjust the dash to around 20. Okay. Alright. Let's make another shape. Let's make a circle or an ellipse. Let's make it smaller. So we don't need the stroke, we just need the fill. Let's make the opacity 100 so that we can see. Let's adjust the color of the circle. Let's going to add a repeater. By default we have 3 copies, so we're going to adjust that. Let's make a keyframe here, and then let's see to how many copies until we reach the end. Okay, 20, but we're going to adjust the position. Let's make this 0 to 20. Okay, there we have it. Now let's play around with the color. Let's make a keyframe. Let's make this green, from yellow to green. Okay, so let's just adjust the keyframe. Alright, yellow to green. So let's make a keyframe on the middle. Let's make it yellow, and let's go to the first keyframe and make it red. Right, red, yellow, green. Let's make the middle keyframe easy ease. Red, yellow, green. Alright, let's go to the white rectangle outside, and then let's adjust the scale or the size. So let's make a keyframe, play around here. Let's make this easy ease, so it seems like it expanded. Let's go to frame 110, then let's play around with the scale again. We will animate the dash, put some keyframe. Let's copy that 22, so we'll make 22 0. So let's go to the circles. So let's make a keyframe on the transform position, then let's adjust the scale as well. Let's make them bigger, and then we're going to adjust the copies. Instead of 20, we're going to make it 16. Adjust the position. So again, let's make this easy ease. Right, now let's make another circle. Let's get rid of the stroke and leave the fill. Okay. Alright, so let's make another batch of circles. Let's rename the first ellipse to first circle batch, and then second batch. Let's add a repeater as well. And then we're going to adjust the number of copies and the value of its position so that it would equate to the first batch. The idea is to make another batch of circles inside the first one, so it doesn't have to be perfect. So let's make them 16 as well. So let's play around the value to make it more on the center for the other circles. $75.8. I think it's fine. Let's try to take this off and see what we have. Okay, nice. So let's animate the intro of this second batch of circles. So from 0 copies to 16. So let's adjust this one. Okay, so it went down and then here they come. Let's make this easy ease. Let's adjust the keyframe. And then let's change the color of the second batch of circles. Let's see what fits. Maybe we can deal with blue or a darker color, dark blue. So let's just fade it out from 100 to 0. So there you go, and then fade out. So let's go back to the white rectangle. Let's make a keyframe on the end of the trim paths. Let's make keyframes. So from 100 to 0. Now let's get to the ellipse, fade it out. So we have the word wait on its own again. Let's play what we have and we wait. Okay, so let's go to the word wait, press T for the opacity, and then let's make a keyframe. Let's try to fade it out as well. Let's minimize the other layers. Let's play it. Nice. So let's go back to the light green rectangle, and then let's bring it back. So let's make a keyframe. Let's go to frame 130, or let's go forward to 140. Going to 145, it would be 100. So okay, let's just adjust some parameters here. Let's drag the ending keyframe to 160. Okay. Adjust the scale. Let's make keyframe. We will make it bigger. Oops, I forgot about the anchor point. Okay, so let's adjust the anchor point. Let's just make a keyframe. One keyframe. One. Then let's adjust. Let's reposition. Let's make a keyframe. So same with the anchor point. Let's make a keyframe there. Then going back to where it was. Okay. So let's go to the end. Let's make it bigger. Okay. So it seems like it's going to the screen. It's going to cover the screen, but it's a little bit slow, so let's make it faster by dragging it, adjusting the keyframe. Alright, so 165 is about right. Let's make this easy ease. Let's go to the opacity, and then let's make this 0. Okay, so there you have it. I guess we'll just have to trim this one, drag that one, and then right click, look for trim comp, and then let's play what we have. Okay, so we have created a loop for a loading screen. Nice. Okay, so you can actually experiment on your own now that you have gained knowledge on how to do things. So if ever you want to export this one, you can click on the composition, then add to Adobe Media Encoder queue, or Ctrl Alt M on your keyboard, then just wait for it. By default it's on MP4 with the codec of H.264, and then you can change the location on where to save it. Then you can play on the play button for the export, so just wait for it to finish. So if ever you wanted to export on Quicktime, just go to add to render queue or Ctrl M, then go to custom on the output module, and then AVI to Quicktime. So here you can actually use the H.264 codec, or you can just leave it to animation because there is a discrepancy on the quality. So anyway, if you want to leave it at that, animation, you may so, but you will have a greater size. You can change where the output will be. Just click on render and then just wait for it. So before I forget, let's right click on the timeline, then new, and then solid. It doesn't matter what color. Okay, and then let's go to effects, type ramp, and then gradient ramp, drag it into the solid. Okay, so we have their black and white. Let's make the white color a little bit red, whitish red or light red, and then let's adjust the point so that it would be darker. Let's bring the black down a little bit, then let's drag it behind all of this. Let's play, and here is what we have. So again, you can experiment on your own. You can do whatever you want. Just make sure to apply everything that I've said. And so that ends this tutorial. This was actually intended for a friend, and if ever some of you watching here actually needs this tutorial, well, then it's good for you. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned if ever I'm going to have another one. Thank you.